Hello and welcome to Just Another Buff promo. It's Tom Brunt, Dan and Brian. How are we doing, lads? We okay?
Yeah, good.
Oh, we are on the eve. We are on the eve of the biggest game of the season. Not just for City and Liverpool, but for the Premier League. Brian, is tomorrow going to be the day where we break our Liverpool Anfield hoodoo? Do you know the last time we won at Anfield? 2003.
Is that when Anelka scored that?
That's the Anelka goal, yeah. What's your thoughts on the game, pal? Because we're going into this game with a mean streak of wins and performances recently. So how are we going to
do? On paper, you fancy us every day. I mean, this is the sort of game. These are the sort of matches where we seem to struggle, especially against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Going there, we can be in all this great form and stuff, and the game's usually over in the first 15 minutes, and that's going to be the big test tomorrow. Is can we, like we've seen in the past, like players like Oxlade-Chamberlain who've not had a touch of the ball and score 30-yarders, and Fabinho and these sort of players. We need to make sure that the first 20 minutes tomorrow is solid.
Yes.
And if we can see that first 20 minutes out and we can get to the rhythm of the game, then there's no reason why we can't win.
Oh, are you nervous yet? Are you nervous yet? Yes.
And no, I don't get nervous. No, I think the days of nerves have gone. For me.
Yeah.
Being a City fan, yeah. I think the nerves have gone because we've won stuff and we've been good. We've come out the other side, whereas like those butterflies of that first season we won the league, and even before then, the butterflies of trying to get into the Champions League, and that night against Tottenham when we lost and it could have been a win, and but they're the sort of games I was nervous for because there was something on the line. Now we've been there, done there, won it. I think for me the nerves aren't as there as much unless it's something we've not done before, which is probably if we start getting towards the latter stage of the Champions League. That's when I think I'll be a bit nervous.
It's funny that, isn't it? And you think that the first 20 minutes is key to the game tomorrow then? For both sides, I suppose.
More for us because I think historically we've conceded a lot of goals early over there. And we've gone on to play quite well in those games. I think, was it one where we came back from like 4-1 down or something? And was it Aguero had a chance in the last few minutes to equalise or something? And we can't give him a head start. We can't afford to give it him. So that's the first 20 minutes there. They're going to be. They know that they've got to come out all guns blazing tomorrow. They have to win. It is a must-win game for Liverpool. Whereas for us, it's not necessarily a must-win. It's just probably a not-lose kind of scenario.
Right, Dan. Time to shine, pal. City have won the last 13 games in the league and the cup. How many penalties are we going to give away against Liverpool tomorrow?
Well, depends how the Premier League wants to go, really, doesn't it? We could see about 10 or 11 going to Liverpool, but I am nervous. I will admit, I am nervous. I don't normally get nervous for the bigger games, but it's just something about if we cock up per se against them tomorrow. I just hope that's not the start of a downfall. We conceded a couple of goals or something like that and lose, or if it's just 1-0 or something like that. I don't want that to be the start, so that's my only worry.
Yeah, I see that.
But bar that, I'm really confident. I can see a comfortable win coming, and I know
He's gone there early, Brian. He's gone there early.
Well, I don't mean it towards like my score predictions where I go like 5-6-0, something like that, and I'd just be cocky and get comfortable scoreline and stuff like that, and they never turn out that way. I honestly believe we're looking at a comfortable 2-0, something like that, because Liverpool, I think, haven't scored in the league at Anfield since December, so that they're going to have a hell of a lot more chances against us because we're that team that a player can have 300 games without scoring a goal and then magically score a hat-trick or something against us. It always happens.
Yeah, James Milner from nowhere.
No, do you know, in terms of speaking about Liverpool, I remember probably one of the last games I went to at Main Road, right? City were playing Liverpool, right? And Michael Owen hadn't scored for like 12 games. And he scored an hat-trick in first half. I'm like, come on. That was the start of like me noticing that there was always a trend that players do well against us. I remember it being Michael Owen because he was like at the time he was probably the best player in the world.
Michael Owen, brilliant when he brought.
Not scored for 10 games or something. I thought I'm sat in the main stand with me, and I'm like, I don't fancy it today. And next minute, he scored in 3 minutes and a half time. He's got an hat-trick. I'm like, that's just Michael Owen. That's the start of it, isn't it?
So we'll start with a bit of team news before we move on to anything else. So obviously we're still without Sergio, we're still without Kev, we're still without Ake. I forgot what Ake was like. He had a promising start, didn't he, Ake, as well? He's pretty good. What's his actual injury? Do you know what's wrong with Ake?
I was about to say that. I don't know.
Do you know what? I'm going to find out.
Muscle injury. In his leg. He pulled it about, I think it was about a month ago or something like that, and it's just been twinging him every year. And now Guardiola says he's nearing the end to start full-time training again.
Yeah, so potential return. So Nathan is still not ready. The return just ruled out. Yeah, nothing more than that. And that there we go.
In the day and age of modern day football, to have a muscle injury keep you out for going to be about 6 weeks, isn't it? It's bad than that.
It's all the physical training involved.
It's a bad one that to be out for that long with muscle injuries.
Must be a tough. Yeah, there's nothing suspicious there, is there? Am I just being silly with that? No, there's nothing.
No, I don't think so.
Nothing does.
You're forgetting that when we signed him, he'd only just really come back from a long-term injury at Bournemouth. He was out for a long time last year, so he's still. When we were playing, you could argue he's not fully match fit.
Doing that slowly thing with him, so that's understandable. So Liverpool are on late fitness checks with Mane, Fabinho, and Alisson. So there's a good chance those three could be the team tomorrow. And let's face it, they'll be weaker without them. So ideally, none of them will play. But they've still got a strong squad, haven't they, Liverpool? Even though they have done, I think stuff something like 13 different positions at the back.
13 different defensive partnerships.
Yeah, something bizarre, isn't it? That they just seem to.
You know what? Right, Crimea River. Seriously, we had it the last couple of years. Fernandinho were playing centre half with Rodri. There was a thing the other day when Milner were playing with Fabinho at the back, and it was like, oh, these two centre backs playing, these two midfielders playing centre back. It was like all over Sky Sports News and stuff. I'm like, hey, we had Rodri had been here 6 weeks and he was playing centre half.
Yeah.
You know, against Fernandinho, with Fernandinho there, and we played like 2 or 3 games there or something. We had no centre backs, let alone 2 kids who can get out of the reserves.
Remember that game against Palace where he started in that first game last year? We were all like, huh? Rodri? Fernandinho?
So for that reason only, I'm like, so what? Deal with it. We have.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Right, I'm going to test you two. Do you two remember the last game we played at Anfield? I vaguely do. I mean, obviously, my memory's not the best at the best of times. I'm going to test.
Was we lose 3-0?
I'm gonna test you.
Okay.
I'm gonna test you, right? Okay, so the last time City won at Liverpool was at Anfield was 2003. Okay. Can we name the team? I've got the team in front of me, so I can't be in it. But can you two have a guess at the team? Let's see how many we can get. Who do you reckon was in there?
So 2003.
2003.
Goalkeeper.
Shall I give you clues?
Was it Peter Schmeichel?
Schmeichel in net. Well done. Right. Yes. So.
Over to you, Dan.
So yeah, I can't really remember the teams back then. I'm going to go for a Thatcher.
One of our...
Thatcher.
No, not yet. Actually,
well, I'd like to continue by going to say Sylvain Distin.
Yes.
Dunn.
Richard Dunn.
Yes.
G High. When did he sign?
G High
was on the bench. He was on the bench.
Nicholas Jensen.
Yes. Nice.
Oh, I'm on a roll there, aren't I?
Come on, you can do this. Well, you know who the goal scorer was.
Yeah, Anelka was there.
Yeah.
Anelka put it. Dietmar Hamann.
Oh, hang on. I've lost my page. It's gone tits up. Excuse me. Oh, so much swear. Sorry, it's too early for that. No, Hamann.
All right, so let's try and get this right back. David, right?
No.
Claudio Reyna.
No.
There was the right back, David Sommet or something like that.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. Well done. Smashing this. It would have been a right wing for us.
John Wright Phillips.
Yeah, he was.
God, aye.
Right, so you got 3 midfielders left and 2 strikers.
Barton.
Yes. One of the midfielders is another Algerian that's played for City.
Albanabia.
Well done, yes.
Was the left side Mark Kennedy?
No.
Oh.
More of a central midfielder. Known as the Crab, sideways passing. I hope he's not watching.
We've had a few of them.
This must have been his last season, actually. Can't have played that many seasons afterwards. Shall I tell you? I don't think you'll get this one. Kevin Horlock.
Kevin Horlock, yeah.
Right, so the striker. There's one more striker to get, and you got on the clean sweep.
John Gota.
No,
Fowler.
no, but he enjoyed playing at Anfield. Come on, Dan. Who did you just say?
Fowler.
Yes, sorry,
Right,
Yeah. I said Fowler and you said no.
I was like, I thought.
I just had something in the back of my mind saying, did he just say Fowler? Did he say something else? That could have been perjury, couldn't it? Crikey. On unused subs, we had Carlo Nash, John Macken, Sunji Ha, you mentioned, Bischoff and Belmadi. Bloody hell, blast from the past there, lads. Haven't we come a long way since 2003? I bet our subs bench tomorrow is not as looking as ropey as that. So listen, let's get to this. Let's get to the meat of this. Tomorrow's game is a fantastic opportunity for us to end this poor run. But we've been in this position before. If we could have put a penalty away the last time we played, we wouldn't have been talking about this now. So it is doable. Anfield is not a fortress anymore. Teams are who beat them last week? Is it Brighton?
Burnley and Brighton
and
over
Burnley.
the last 2 weeks.
So come on, we've got to be confident going into this. We're top of the league, flying high, good defensive record. Liverpool are shipping losses and draws left, right, and centre. We've got to be confident with this. But I still think it's going to be a cagey game. I think neither manager will want to lose this. I think Pep will play. I think he'll play semi-defensive.
Do you think that in the last few weeks, I mean, we've talked about it a few times, like we've got these three amazing centre backs. He's kind of started with a few of them together, like having three on the pitch at once. Now, my biggest worry is we change formation to counteract them attacking rather than stick with what we've been good at for the last seven weeks, which is solid four at the back, which then to drop into two extra midfielders. Will he sacrifice that and go with three at the back and have Laporte? You know, this is for me. This is the big test of whether or not Pepper's learned his lesson of tinkering too much.
Hey, listen, I said 2 weeks ago about playing three at the back, but I got shot down. Why have I got glitter on my face?
I'm gonna wipe the floor with this. He's been doing it for about 3 months.
Yeah, but we're not talking about a midfielder dropping back.
But Rodri, he's played centre back quite a few times.
He drops into that old Wolf on Matei's position, doesn't he, and splits the centre backs a bit. But I think now we go with Diaz in the middle, Laporte on one side, and Stones on the right.
I think he has been trying to tweak that though, because we've had the likes of Jesus playing regularly. When Jesus was out, he'd starting to warp around with this back three, and then having Cancelo cut in about a month and a half ago, he's been playing more midfield, right? And Zinchenko as well. Zinchenko in the last match cut in for midfield for a bit. He's been tweaking that for a few months now, with Rodri dropping back, trying out that defensive structure. And because Jesus is now coming back, he's now been able to experiment with Laporte and having our wing backs further up the pitch. Because if you think about it, Zinchenko is more of an attacking midfielder. That was his role before he traded as a left back for a bit. Cancelo, he's been phenomenal in cutting into the midfield. He's been planning this for months, in my view. Absolutely months.
See, that kind of worries me because we don't need to change it.
But we've been winning.
Yeah, but we don't need. It's not like we're coming across Liverpool, the team from last season before lockdown, where they were smashing teams left, right, and centre, and we are going to be potentially on the end of one. You know, there's no team out there that are ruthless like they have been over the last 2 years. There's no ruthless team in world football really at the moment. So, do we need to change that? Do we need to?
But we won't. If we play that way tomorrow, we won't have been changing it. He's been doing it for game in, game out. I know we've been playing against lesser opposition.
It starts that way, though. It starts that way with the three centre-backs on the pitch.
It would improve us.
No, but I think the telltale sign would be if we start with the three centre-backs and then Cancelo or Zinchenko. Cancelo and Zinchenko. That's a back five into a back three sometimes. And I think that would be that'd be the big worry for me, is if he decides to ditch the four at the back to go with an extra centre-back when we don't really need to.
But in the previous game, he had Cancelo and Bernardo Silva as the wing-backs. So you've got much more attacking there. You've only got three defensive defenders there. and then the rest are all attacking midfielders, bar obviously Rodri, and that means more men in midfield and more men in attack. It can only be a positive, because then if that happens, you drop back, Laporte covers for left back, Cancelo drops back into right back. There's your back four, and then on attack.
I see it's quite fluid, but I think we're quite used to playing another way. We're quite used to playing the way we've been doing with the two centre backs split wide, and then the two full backs in, which gives us 2 and a 2. Having the 3 centre backs then gives us a 3, and then the midfield's got he's bringing one player further back, and I don't like that. I think that's what I'm trying to get to.
But you could argue he's putting one man further forward.
When we've got the ball, yeah, but I think, as I say, I'm just super worried that he's developing this kind of insecurity now where he's thinking of the big games and he's going too much towards pulling another Leon, where he just basically throws all our form and squad positioning out of the water and just goes with something stupid.
Well, let's try and settle this, lads. Brian? Let's go for your. Who would you? Let's just our teams. Who would you select for tomorrow? Who would you having?
Got a full 11.
Full 11, please.
Yeah, so I think we're going to go with obviously Ederson.
Yeah.
I think Cancelo starts with Diaz, Stones, and Laporte.
Yeah.
And then he goes obviously the midfield 3 of Gundogan, Rodri, Bernardo.
Yeah.
My worry is Phil Foden's going to miss out tomorrow, and he's going to start with Mahrez on the one side.
That would be a brave decision.
I think he's going to start with Mahrez on the right, Sterling on the left, and Jesus down the middle. I think that's what he's going to do. I think Mahrez is going to start. There's something about how Mahrez starts randomly in games that he shouldn't, and I think when it comes to a game like Liverpool, I think he's going to choose with Foden sitting out.
Fair enough. Dan, who are you going for, pal?
Going for Scott Carson. Nah, Ederson in goal. Kyle Walker, Cancelo, Stones and Diaz. Cancelo out on the left.
Diaz, Stones. Yeah.
With Rodri as your holding mid, dropping into a back 3. Gundogan and Bernardo Silva in central midfield.
Yeah.
Foden out on the left.
Yeah.
I have to agree. Mahrez out on the right. And Raheem Sterling up front. I think Jesus will drop to the bench.
You're going for a false 9.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, Dan. I don't think Jesus will start tomorrow. I think he'll. I think
more effective coming.
Yeah, I think he'll want to overload the midfield.
What do you think is going to cause them more problems? Having somebody straight down the middle against 2 ropey centre backs, or a floating false 9?
I think that's why I've gone for the way I have, because it's been working the past few weeks against teams. Nobody knows who to mark. You can have Foden, you can have Sterling, you can have Mahrez, you can have Bernardo Silva centre forward, and I think Gundogan for that matter. I think it will be a trouble.
I think having that number 9 to occupy that back, then will push them back, and especially when Jesus is going to run all day. Whoever plays centre back for them, we don't know. Don't know who's going to play centre back. I hope it's Henderson. I really do. And I hope it's one of these new lads that comes in, because they're going to be well at the depth. So
Ben Davies is a centre back, but I'm quite interested to see how he plays.
Go on, sorry.
Go on.
No.
I think I'd rather have, if you're going to come across 2 inexperienced defenders, which they've got to have. I think having an international striker occupying them, all the game, making them run, making them think, spinning behind, I think that's more valuable than having that floating midfielder, because having those 2 centre-backs for Liverpool the way they are, they're losing something from midfield like we did when we had to play midfielders back there, so they're not going to have the strongest midfield either. So having that false 9 floating, to me, in a position where he's not going to... We don't need to have floating midfielders there when we're probably going to be strong enough in that position anyway. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I mean... Look at the way we lined up last week. Nobody expected it was like it was then. It's I always joke about having like the hard to pick pets teams. It's bloody impossible. If you only had 12 fit players, I'm sure we'd all get it wrong.
Right, done. Okay, we'll send that out to the socials, see what everyone's thinking. So we're coming on to one player now that I want to talk about. It's funny that you say, I can't see him dropping Foden tomorrow, which tells me he's going to drop him. And I know I should be thinking that with Pep's team. Just a little words for everybody. Actually, we're actually running a competition through one of our partners, Football Prizes. They are giving away a signed Phil Foden shirt. If you go onto our Facebook page, our Twitter page, it's $4.95 per ticket, 99 tickets. Whether they sell 100 or they sell 60, they're going to do the draw anyway, and the draw is Monday night at 7:30. So you buy as many tickets as you want, $4.95. Cracking! I don't know if you've seen it. It's like these are the background. They've got like a framed shirt.
Yeah.
And the lights in and stuff. It looks fantastic. So just a bit of a shout out to them. So go on our site for that. Foden. Dan, you mentioned something about Foden before we started. Do you want to just run with that for a minute rather than me take your glory?
Yeah. It was an interview he did for BBC, just talking about his role now and how the season's gone on, and he was just referring to, two points he was referring to. The first point was writing the team off. You know, at the beginning of the season where we lost 5-2 to Leicester, 5-1, 5-2, I can't remember now, and everyone started writing them off, and he said, in the dressing room, that got everybody down. You know, they just thought this isn't us, and apparently it pulled them all together and it made them more binding, basically. And that he thinks that's down to why they pushed on. But the second point was about his career. He turned around and said, "I don't want to end my career anywhere else but City. I can't imagine me playing for any other team, no matter who it is. I want to finish my career at City." He's 20 years old and he's played 100 games already, and he just wants to finish his career. He's a player at the age of 20 talking about finishing his career with the same club. Any day, son, any day. You stay at the club for as long as you want. But love that commitment.
What a guy! Honestly, he's gonna end up being Chappie, being the bootman at the end of his career. He just wants to stay and be involved in the back room somewhere, doesn't he? And
Could be Brian Kidd handing out the mints.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, stay as long as you like, Phil. The thing, I love that though, don't you? Don't you love that? It's refreshing to hear. A lad from Stockport wants that. It's brilliant to see.
And from the academy.
And from the academy. A tick on for the academy. Right, so what's your thoughts on scorelines for tomorrow, lads? Obviously, I'm not touching this with a barge pole. Dan, are you doing a live tomorrow?
Yes, I promised I'd do one against Burnley, and I let everyone down. Well, I didn't let everyone on Facebook let me down, but yeah, definitely on live tomorrow. I've checked it and it's all working.
Fabulous. What channel are we on?
Sky Sports, I think.
Sky Sports. So we'll be on doing we'll do a preview beforehand. I'll come in and do a preview with you, and we'll do a watch along as well because it's always good fun, isn't it? Oh God, I can't. I'm nervous watching it already. I'm nervous thinking about it already. Right, score predictions. Let's move on quickly. Before you two we've got score predictions from the Upset Monkey on YouTube. God, I love YouTube. He thinks City 2, Liverpool 1, goals from Jesus and Foden. Ronnie Beaver going 3-1 to City as always. Brian, what do you think is score predictions, my friend?
I think it'll be a really, really cagey affair. Probably not dissimilar to that ball fest at Old Trafford we had. And looking at if I'm going to look forward to any result better, it would be not losing. So if we can, if in 24 hours we're looking back and reflecting and we've walked away with a point, I'll be happy. So I'm going to say 1-1.
Okay.
I'll take a point, mate. A point. It's a 6-point game.
With a game in hand.
A point for us in that game tomorrow is worth more than a win. You know what I mean? In terms, because they're not getting any points. You know, and I mean, a win to them would be great. But if we can dent them with a draw, I think that we could quite easily go around and win 5-0, and we'd all be rejoicing. But realistically, if I can come away with a point, I will. Take a point now.
Dan.
2-0. I think we'll be quietly confident. I think we'll marshal up midfield with more men. Henderson's obviously going to have to drop back for them to cover the new lads coming in if they play, or should Henderson play centre back himself. That means Liverpool's midfield's going to be quiet, I'd say. Thiago's not been firing on all cylinders. So, yeah, comfortable 2-0. I think we'll win it via the midfield.
It's going to be one tomorrow in midfield. I agree with you, Brian. It's going to be cagey. Do you know what? I'm gonna go old school here, lads. Jumpers for goalposts. I think first goal wins it tomorrow. I don't know what the score line will be. I think it's a really cagey affair, but I think whoever gets the first goal will win the game. It pains me a little bit to say that, but I just think it's going to be a really close, catchy, tetchy, horrible. I'm most of the game doing this 90 minutes.
It's not going to be It's not going to be one of those games where it's been in the past where it's end to end like a basketball match and it's great football. I think we'll have a lot of possession. They will be quite cagey. They'll try and attack, but they're quite toothless at the moment, aren't they? You know, and let's be honest, all they're going to do is give the ball to Salah because that's their only decent player at the minute in any kind of form. So I think it's just going to be I'd take a dismal 0-0 or a 1-1. You know what I mean? I'd take that and move on. Just done. It's out the way.
The good thing about us now, though, is Ruben Diaz is the left-sided at centre-back. Salah's obviously the right wing. So luckily, we'll have Ruben Diaz on Salah all night. Fingers crossed.
How many times have I said this season, Dan? If we don't concede, we'll win.
Yeah.
And you know that I just feel our defence has got to be absolutely on top tomorrow. We need to be rocks right across the line. I want to see Cancelo play. I want to see Foden play. I want to see Bernardo play. I want to see Gundogan play. I want Ederson to be pinging big balls left, right, and centre, or strain balls left, right, and centre across the pitch, up and down, running on. I don't know how I feel about Sterling playing. I don't think he's going to have the impact for us that we need tomorrow. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I wanted him to have his impact game the other day, but he didn't do it.
My reason for choosing Sterling was because Alexander-Arnold's not in the greatest of form.
No.
You know, and if you want somebody who's going to be a pain in the arse all day, just somebody like that, I think Sterling can do a bit more than Foden would.
Yeah.
I think that's why I chose that, because you'd have Alexander-Arnold running all day long, you know.
Right, I'm good, lads. Anything else to add before we shoot off?
Not from me.
Right, come on, City. Last before we go.
Come on, City.
Before we go, we want to pay respects on the 63rd anniversary of the Munich air disaster. Manchester, obviously, a City United. Lots of thoughts to friends and family, and obviously our United friends across the way in Salford. But come on, City. Big game for us tomorrow, Blues. We're having it, aren't we, lads? Come on.
Absolutely.
Come on, Blue Boys. Right, we'll see you tomorrow night, Blues. We'll see you later.
Take care.